Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, as always, Harrison Graham. We're going to get into 5 surprise cut candidates in a minute, but right before we started filming, Javon Wims got released by the Bears, so let's break that down first as Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy have mercifully decided to cut bait with Mr. Javon Wims. Didn't perform well during the preseason, during training camp. Other guys simply played better than he did. In a corresponding roster move, Dionte Ruffin, DB that got cut on a prior roster cuts day, has been re-signed, so he fills that 80th spot on the current 80-man roster. But adios, Javon Wims. We'll see you because your time in Chicago has mercifully come to an end. And honestly, it's pretty disappointing to see how this is all played out because there's no doubt that Javon Wims is talented. He can get open. He's got drop issues. He's got mental toughness issues. He's throwing punches in a tight game against the Saints last year. He drops a beautifully designed trick play by Matt Nagy and Bill Lazor in the playoff game last year on a perfect throw from Mitchell Trubisky. He just didn't do the fundamental things well, and he wasn't a mentally tough player. So at the end of the day, we'll see you. That's why he gets cut, because there are better options that have emerged than Javon Wims. So what is your one-word reaction to Javon Wims getting cut? Get your answers in down in the comments. My one word, finally. It's time to see some other guys get some opportunities here in Chicago, and I think this is a signal that that is very much the case. Now, 2 receivers that were on the roster last year won't be this year. Anthony Miller traded to the Texans. Javon Wims cut by Chicago today. All right, let's take a look at some Bears surprise cut candidates here. Quick roster outlook is Chicago is currently sitting at an 80-man roster. Like we previously mentioned, Dionte Ruffin, the 80th man right now. 53-man roster deadline is next Tuesday, August 31st. So after these final preseason games this weekend play out, all 32 NFL teams will have to trim from 80 to 53, which means this, and we go through this every year, Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace, they got to make some tough decisions, and I've got a few players that they could be deciding between here in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. But this is why you subscribe, because we're breaking down the latest news and rumors. Javon Wims gets cut. We talk about it here on a video, but I have a challenge for you guys. I want to get to 31,000 subscribers before kickoff on Saturday night. We're just 106 away. I think we can get there. If we get to 31K, the plan is to do a watch party. So subscribe and join us, and do not do not be the reason we don't get to 31K, because hey, we're bringing you the latest Bears news and rumors on a daily basis. Number 1, Desmond Trufant, as we go through some surprise cut candidates here. And the word surprise is important because I'm not saying these guys for sure are going to get cut. I'm just saying don't be shocked if they're on the roster bubble and could get cut. Desmond Trufant hasn't been available. He's been gone for personal reasons. Now, there's been some chatter on the internet that his dad may have passed away, so if that is the case, obviously best wishes to him and his family. That's a very tough thing to go through, but the bottom of the line is he's coming off a bad year, and the Bears have issues at corner. Where's Desmond Trufant? Like, he needs to get these reps, and he needs to be out there, even though he is a veteran. Guys like Kendall Vildor is getting those reps. Artie Burns is in the mix as well. Now, Vildor and Burns haven't exactly showed out, but the Bears may just decide to go younger and say, you know what, we gave Trufant an opportunity. He's not the same player he once was. We're just going to go in a different direction. We'll see what happens. We'll see when he returns, if he returns before next Tuesday. Again, that's when those final roster cuts have to be made. So we'll just have to wait and see. Last year only played in 6 games with Detroit. Wasn't that effective. Did have a pick and a few pass breakups in those 6 games, but gave up a lot of big plays as well when he was out on the field. So I'm hopeful he'll return. I'm hopeful he can make an impact. But right now, the jury is definitely out because we just do not know the full situation of what he is dealing with and how the Bears feel about him as a player. So predict it for me. Will Desmond Trufant get cut? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Cast your votes down in the comments section. So Desmond Trufant, my first surprise cut candidate. We'll go to the offensive side here. How about Elijah Wilkinson, who, again, I wouldn't necessarily predict that he will get cut, but he has not been good in the preseason. Like, I'll tell you this right now. He cannot play left tackle. during the regular season. That would be a disaster if that happens. He's looked awful. I tweeted out a rep of his during the game against Buffalo on Saturday where he just gets run over by A.J. Epinesa and Dalton gets hit on fourth down where the Bears tried to go for it late in the first half. Can't play tackle. If he's a swing guard or something like that, that's fine. But if you're saying, well, we'll keep him because he can start at left tackle some, that's just not going to work. Like he clearly is in over his head trying to play at left tackle at this point in his career. I think he's probably safe on this roster because the Bears don't have a ton of quality depth, and he's at least a guy that has played in this league a little bit. But if you want to save a little bit of cash and maybe go a younger route, maybe keep both Latavius Simmons and Arlington Hambright or something like that, that is certainly a possibility as well. So we'll see what happens when it comes to Elijah Wilkinson. I think he could be a surprise cut candidate, especially if he doesn't play well against Tennessee here on Saturday night. Few more players to go, but first I want to tell you guys about our sponsor for today's show. That is BetUS, and we've got the best deal out there for you guys, for you folks who love sports gambling. And if you don't, hey, take it from me. I've gotten into it in the last couple of years. It's a blast. Go to chatsports.com/Bears. Use that promo code, all one word, Bear Down. That's going to get you 125% deposit bonus, but you got to use our link, chatsports.com/Bears. Put down $100, you get an extra $125 for free. If you're a sports gambling beginner, that gives you some extra money to work with. And hey, go throw $5 on the Bears this weekend if you just kind of want to feel it out, how it goes, how sports gambling goes, and how fun it can be. Bears 1.5-point favorites. The total over under 36.5. I love Chicago minus 1.5. Tennessee has some COVID issues popping up right now. Their starters are probably not going to play that much in this game. Justin Fields will probably play the entire first half. Get a lead early. I think the Bears have a good chance of covering that 1.5. So take advantage of that deal. Chatsports.com/bet and use our promo code Bear Down. That is all one word. All right, let's keep it rolling here on our Bears cut candidates video. Jimmy Graham is next up on the list, the tight end. Let me be clear. I don't think Jimmy Graham will get cut, and I've been consistent in that because if they would have cut him to save salary cap money, they would have done it during free agency to spend that money. So why would they do it now? The reason there's an inkling of a chance, number one, you could still save the $7 million. Maybe you want to go sign a corner or an offensive lineman. Number two, Jesse James has performed pretty admirably since he was signed. So if you wanted to, you could go with the combination of Cole Kmet and Jesse James. You could cut Jimmy Graham, and then one of J.P. Holtz, Jesper Horsted, one of those guys could make the team and be your fourth tight end if you want to, or third or fourth tight end if you want to go that route. So I don't think it's likely. I'd put it at less than 10%, but he's the best way to save money if you're still trying to go that route. He hasn't played much in the preseason, which kind of signals to me that his roster spot is safe, but weirder things have happened. We've seen vets in the NFL not play in the preseason and assume they're on the roster, and then teams change their mind at the last second. So don't rule it out completely, but it's probably pretty unlikely. What would you do with Jimmy Graham? Type K for keep him, type C for cut him. Cast your votes in the comments. I'm good either way. The money would be valuable either in rollover salary cap space, or you could go sign a number 2 corner potentially, or do something like that. So K for keep or C for cut. 2 more players to go on our Bears surprise cut candidates. How about Duke Shelley, another cornerback here? I think someone in this cornerback room is going to get cut that we may not have seen coming. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if it'll be Trufant, Shelley. Maybe it's Artie Burns. I don't think Kendall Vilder gets cut. But I think Thomas Graham Jr., the rookie out of Oregon, has more upside than Duke Shelley. And if that's the case, why not just roll with the rookie? I mean, Shelley's entering year 3. He's okay. He's a good tackler. He doesn't cover that well. He's a good special teams player, which he has that going in his favor. And the Bears special teams unit has not looked good in the preseason. But I would not be shocked if the Bears said, you know what, we're going to roll with Thomas Graham. We're going to roll with the rookie out of Oregon who almost had a pick 6 last week. Against Buffalo. He's shown some good ball skills. I think his coverage skills are better than Duke Shelley's. But I think out of those top 6 guys there, don't be surprised if one of them or even 2 of them get cut, because you can't keep 6, 7 corners. You'll probably keep 5 or something like that. So Duke Shelley, my latest Chicago Bears surprise cut candidate. We'll see how it ends up shaking out. I think the cornerback position is one to follow as the Bears trim from 80 down to 53. Make sure you subscribe and tune in on Saturday for a Bears vs. Titans watch party. We got to get to 31K subs to do it, so subscribe and hit that big red button. We're just over 100 away. We've got more than 2 days to get there. I think we can hit that number. If you want daily videos, if you want watch parties on Saturday and throughout the regular season, let's hit 31K on Saturday night. Share the link below with a friend. Spread the word. Say, hey, we got to get to 31,000. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. My final Chicago Bears surprise cut candidate, and I feel a little better about this one after Javon Wims got cut, but I'll stick with him on the video. Rodney Adams. And the reason I still think he could get cut is, well, the Bears just did sign Isaiah Coulter, who probably has more special teams value. I don't think Rodney Adams gives you much of anything on special teams. Now, I would keep him. I think he has done enough to prove that he is worthy of making this football team. I think he's done enough to get snaps during regular season games. Now, he's got some drop issues, had a couple of drops in the preseason, but he's shown an ability to run routes, get open, show good hands at times. That 73-yard touchdown he caught from Andy Dalton was a great catch. Went up over the defender, pinned it to the defender's helmet, and took it to the crib. He's shown big play ability, over 18 yards a catch in the preseason, and he's performed well in training camp. I would keep him. But don't be surprised if the Bears opt to go special teams with a guy like Isaiah Coulter for their sixth wide receiver. I think that is very much a possibility, and I would not be shocked whatsoever if that ended up happening. Because I think if you think about the Bears receivers, Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, Damiere Byrd, Marquise Goodwin, I think all four of those guys are safe. I think you're going to keep rookie Daz Newsome, so that's 5. If you keep 6, I mean, it's probably down to Adams or Coulter at this point. So we'll see who ends up being that final wide receiver here. Javon Wims is obviously out of the mix now, which is helpful, but lots of things still to shake out potentially in this final preseason game. So there you have it. Name a surprise player that could get cut. I just went through my 5 guys, which we'll recap in 1 second, but I want to hear it from you guys. Name a surprise player that you could see getting cut before next Tuesday's deadline. Desmond Trufant, Elijah Wilkinson, Jimmy Graham, Duke Shelley, and Rodney Adams are 5 players to keep an eye on. By the way, Javon Wims has been cut, like we mentioned at the beginning. Sayonara. We'll see you guys very, very soon. Remember, 31K. Let's get there by Saturday night.